When Gary Hart throws an axe in the front runner, the crew figured Hugh Jackman would need a few tries to hit the target. But in true Wolverine fashion, he nailed it on the very first throw, shocking everyone and winning the crew's bet. In Pool Hall Junkies, there's a scene where Christopher Walken is called upon to make a trick shot. He was supposed to take a practice run of the scene before filming, but he asked for the practice run to be filmed in case he actually made the shot on the first try, which he did.
I guess even a blind squirrel can find a nut every once in a while.
In V for Vendetta, Natalie Portman shaved her head on camera for a powerful transformation scene, and for obvious reasons, they had only one chance to get it right. In Falling Down, when Michael Douglas hands his briefcase to a bum who finds only an apple inside, the man throws it at him, and Douglas casually kicks it as it rolls by. That kick was entirely improvised and captured in the very first take. Although the crew filmed around 30 more takes, none came close to matching the raw, spontaneous magic of the original. In Teen Wolf, Mark Holton, best known as Chubby, sank a hook shot during a game and nailed it on the very first take. His shocked reaction in the film wasn't acting at all. It was pure surprise, as Holton later admitted the shot was pure luck. When Luke and Leia swing off Jabba's sail barge in Return of the Jedi, Mark Hamill nailed the daring move in just one take, carrying Carrie Fisher in full costume as they swung to safety. Hamill later said it was his favorite scene in the whole Star Wars saga. When Lassie swims across the river in Lassie Come Home, it isn't a stunt double. The dog who played Lassie does it himself. He paddled the full length of the river and collapsed on the bank afterward, completely exhausted. The performance was so touching, it reportedly brought director Fred Wilcox to tears. In the Dark Knight DVD extras, it's mentioned that they only purchased 2 Lamborghinis for the scene where Bruce Wayne blocks the truck driver from running over Coleman Reese. While it wouldn't have been the end of the world if both takes went wrong, spending $1 million on just 2 cars wasn't exactly ideal. Fortunately, everything went perfectly on the very first try.
You think I should go to the hospital?
You don't watch a whole lot of news, do you, Mr. Wayne?
In Joker, Joaquin Phoenix unexpectedly shed a tear during the first take of the mirror scene, and director Todd Phillips decided to keep it. He played the film's score on set to help Phoenix get into character, and as Arthur forced a smile, a single tear rolled down, perfectly capturing the moment. In Breaking Bad, the iconic pizza tossing scene, where Walt throws a pizza onto the roof in frustration, was nailed in a single take. The crew attempted to reshoot it, but Bryan Cranston was never able to land the pizza perfectly again. The original take was so perfect, they kept it. In Hannibal, Mads Mikkelsen nailed a tricky egg toss in one unrehearsed take. The crew had prepped doubles and dozens of eggs. Turns out, he was a juggler in his youth. The iconic scene in The Terminator, where the Terminator smashes a car window with a piston, leaps onto the hood, and punches through the windshield, was done on the first take. In The Man with the Golden Gun, stuntman Lauren Willard pulled off an incredible corkscrew car jump in a single take using an AMC Hornet. What makes it even more impressive is that it was the first movie stunt planned using a computer to figure out the physics. The jump was so unique and perfect that the studio even patented it. In The Master, during the intense jail cell scene, Joaquin Phoenix broke a real, historically significant toilet completely by accident. The moment was fully improvised, and it all happened in just one take. In Too Fast, Too Furious, the scene where the blue car launches onto a boat was filmed at Cape Florida State Park. The crew built a special pier for the jump and cleaned out the car to avoid polluting the bay. Though they planned to shoot it several times, the stunt was so perfect on the first take they didn't need a second. In Kramer vs. Kramer, Meryl Streep was genuinely terrified when Dustin Hoffman suddenly smashed a wine glass against the wall, an unscripted moment that caught her completely off guard and could only be done in one take. Hoffman also slapped her without warning in another take, a moment so intense it didn't make it into the final cut.
He slapped me as hard as he could.
Who? Dustin?
Dustin. But it set me up for the right feeling for him about the film.
When Charles Kane trashes a room in Citizen Kane, Orson Welles goes full rage mode after his character's wife leaves him, smashing everything in sight. Luckily, they only needed one take, because Welles destroyed every piece of furniture in the room. In GoldenEye, the iconic opening bungee jump off Switzerland's 720-foot Contra Dam was performed by stuntman Wayne Michaels, and he nailed it in a single take. Michael told the crew he'd only do it once, and thankfully, that one take was all they needed.
You smell like beef and cheese. You don't smell like Santa.
In Elf, the elaborate Christmas land display that Buddy makes for his first day at Gimbel's department store took hours to set up. As such, the hilarious room-trashing fight between Buddy and the mall Santa was done in only one take, as the producers didn't have time to recreate the set. In Doctor Who, a mix-up forced the crew to use real explosives. The blast was much bigger than planned, but Sylvester McCoy kept walking, despite parts of his costume catching fire, knowing they only had one shot. At the end of 7, when Morgan Freeman opens the box containing the severed head, he was reportedly nervous about whether he could convey the shock and dread the moment required. But he nailed it, delivering the perfect reaction in just one take. In Haywire, during a fierce hotel room fight scene with Michael Fassbender, Gina Carano was picked up and slammed into a flat-screen TV, and the entire stunt was nailed in just one take. Despite the intensity of the moment, Carano executed it flawlessly, proving she could bring her MMA toughness straight into action filmmaking. In Dead Poets Society, the scene where Todd finds out about Neil's death was filmed right after a snowfall. Director Peter Weir told the cast they had to get it in one take because the snow would melt fast. Todd runs outside and throws up in the snow, an intense moment that felt very real and couldn't be done again. Primer is so low budget and tightly planned that nearly every shot in the film is a first take. They simply didn't have the money for do-overs. Writer-director Shane Carruth shot on 16mm film and only bought just enough to cover each scene once, making the film a rare case of first takes-only filmmaking.
I'm gonna be a better father than he ever was. And I sure as hell don't need him for that, because ain't a damn thing he could ever teach me about how to love my kid.
In the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air's powerful episode, Papa's Got a Brand New Excuse, the final scene was done in just one take. Will's hat accidentally falls off during Uncle Phil's hug, but the cast and crew were too emotional to shoot it again. At the end of Pirates of the Caribbean Dead Man's Chest, when Barbossa steps out of the shadows, the cast's stunned reactions weren't acted. They were real. His return was kept a complete secret. He went uncredited, and the scene was filmed in a single take to capture their genuine shock.
So tell me, what's become of my ship?
I know this is unprofessional, but I think you're really cute.